Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping headfirst into the world of gaming, specifically a title that's generating just massive excitement for the new Nintendo Switch 2. We are talking about Mario Kart World.
It's definitely got people talking.
Absolutely. So, armed with a pretty comprehensive review and some insider notes we've gathered, our mission today is really to unpack why this isn't just, another sequel, why people are calling it a full-blown franchise reinvention.
That's a big claim.
It is. We're looking at supposed massive leaps in quality, customization, immersion, all the good stuff. And why it's being hailed as, one of the best reasons to even own a Switch 2.
A system seller, potentially.
Exactly. So if you've ever wondered how a beloved classic, truly beloved, can evolve, or what happens when you match that cutting-edge hardware with iconic gameplay, well, stick around. You might get some of those aha moments and maybe a few surprising facts you've come to expect from us.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, let's kick things off with that headline claim. Mario Kart World is not just a sequel, it's a franchise reinvention. Now, that's a huge statement, isn't it? For a series as established as Mario Kart, most long-running franchises, they tend to play it safer.
They really do. Iteration is usually the name of the game.
So what specifically, beyond just the marketing buzz, makes this game revolutionary enough to earn that title? Is there maybe a risk they alienate longtime fans by changing too much?
Well, that's always a consideration, right? But what's truly fascinating here, and what the sources really emphasize, is that this was, quote, built from the ground up for the Nintendo Switch 2.
Okay, ground up. That sounds significant.
It really is. This isn't just an iterative update, slapping on a new coat of paint. It suggests a complete overhaul. New engine, new design philosophy, the works. They've introduced entirely new systems, tighter mechanics, and a fresh, global aesthetic. That's the key, I think. It lets them push boundaries that, frankly, simple updates just couldn't.
So being built for the new hardware unlocked that potential.
Exactly. That's why it can truly elevate every core aspect of the franchise. They weren't held back by, say, legacy code or older design choices. It's a fundamental reimagining because they started fresh.
Makes sense. So we've established the ambition, this idea of a full reinvention. How does that actually translate onto the track, in the moment-to-moment gameplay? A true reinvention has to mean significant shifts in mechanics, right? What are the standout new features making it feel fresh and strategic, even for someone who's played, every Mario Kart?
Right, and there are several key shifts according to the material. First off, there's this new World Tour mode.
World Tour, okay.
Yeah, think of it kind of like Mario Kart meets a global championship.
Yep.
Players compete on these really cool city-themed tracks from around the world. We're talking places like Tokyo Driftway, New York Rush, maybe Barcelona Boulevard.
Oh, wow. So real-world locations. That's different from Mario Kart.
Inspired by them, yeah. But here's where it gets really interesting according to the review. Each track has interactive events.
Interactive events.
Yeah, things like fireworks, rainstorms, even parades that apparently actively alter gameplay. So the track itself isn't static.
Whoa, okay. So the environment changes mid-race and you have to adapt.
Exactly. It's not just background visuals, it becomes a dynamic challenge that adds a whole new layer of strategy, doesn't it?
That sounds incredible, actually, a truly living track. But what about the karts themselves? Is customization getting a similar overhaul to match this strategic depth?
It absolutely is. That's another huge point. Kart customization is no longer just, picking a cool color or a funny character combo.
Right. It felt mostly cosmetic before.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Now, your kart's weight, suspension, tires, and turbo setup, all these things profoundly affect your speed, handling, and drift recovery. This means your actual build, the combination of parts, becomes really strategic, especially you'd imagine in competitive online play.
Okay, so build strategy is a real thing now. Tuning matters.
Deeply, it seems. And speaking of strategy and skill, there's the new skill-based drifting system. Precision is apparently key here. Mastering the drift timing allows you to unlock hyper boosts.
Hyper boost, like extra speed.
Yeah, but they can be different things, like mini shields or burst speed options. But here's the crucial part. These are based on timing, not RNG.
No random luck involved.
None. It's about your execution, your precise timing. Skill truly dictates your advantage, which, is a pretty massive shift for the series, moving away from some of the randomness.
Yeah, that sounds like a welcome change for more competitive players. Online play has always been, a cornerstone of Mario Kart. Fun, but also...
sometimes frustrating.
Exactly. Lag, disconnects, maybe clunky lobbies. Has that finally been addressed in a way that matches this whole reinvention promise?
It seems so, yeah. This looks like a major win based on the sources. We're talking support for 16-player global races.
16 players. Wow.
Yeah, and apparently smoothly. Also, seamless party-based squads, so playing with friends is easier, and dedicated tournament lobbies for more organized play.
Okay, that sounds much more robust.
And get this, for spectators, there's even a real-time commentary cam, like you're watching an esports event.
Huh, that's pretty cool.
Plus, a nice touch. They mention cross-play with older Switch units.
Oh, really? So Switch 1 players aren't left out.
Seems not entirely, though the notes say it comes with limited visuals, probably to account for the hardware difference. Still, nice for the transition period.
Definitely. Now, this game is explicitly built from the ground up for the Switch 2. That's clearly central here. How exactly does the new hardware elevate the player experience? Is it just prettier graphics, or is it more fundamental?
I think it's definitely more fundamental. If we connect it back to the big picture, the Switch 2's power is critical to making this reinvention actually work. Performance-wise, the game reportedly achieves native 4K 60 when docked.
4K 60. Nice.
And 1080p 60 in handheld mode. Plus, get this, instant load times, apparently under 5 seconds.
Wow, okay. That's fast.
And crucially, 0 frame drops even during 16-player chaos. That ensures it feels consistently smooth and, importantly, responsive.
Okay, 0 frame drops during 16-player chaos. That is quite a feat. Many games struggle with that on, let's be honest, even more powerful, dedicated consoles.
It really is impressive if true.
Is there any mention of how they pull that off? Any, I don't know, clever tricks or minor compromises maybe? Or is it just raw power?
The source doesn't detail the how, but it heavily implies it's a combination of the Switch 2's architecture and the built-from-the-ground-up approach, allowing for deep optimization.
Gotcha. And beyond just the smooth performance, what about the visuals themselves, the fidelity?
Oh, the visuals are clearly a standout. We're talking ray-traced lighting, particularly noticeable on wet tracks and shiny metal parts.
Ooh, ray tracing on a Nintendo console.
Yeah. And truly impactful weather effects that matter. So like we mentioned, rain isn't just cosmetic, it actually creates slippery turns you have to manage.
Right, gameplay impact.
And the environments sound really dynamic, crowd animations, firework lighting, dynamic shadows. The reviewer was genuinely blown away, saying, and I quote, "Visuals blew me away. I didn't think a Mario game could look this good."
High praise indeed.
It really speaks volumes, doesn't it? And it's not just visual, it's about the feel, too. The advanced HD rumble and adaptive triggers are apparently used really well.
Oh, the haptics, how so?
You'll apparently feel the drift pressure, off-road bumps, even shell hits through the controller. Adds that tactile feedback, that immersion.
Ah, okay. Feeling the race.
Exactly. And they even mentioned the Joy-Con IR sensors used for some bonus mini-games in the party mode, so they seem to be using all the tech available.
Okay, so after all these innovations, the tech marvels, the gameplay shifts, what's the actual verdict? What's the consensus from people who actually played Mario Kart World? Does it really deliver on this big reinvention promise?
Well, based on the review and the player feedback mentioned, the response seems overwhelmingly positive, like really positive.
Oh, yeah. From both players and critics.
Both. Customer feedback specifically highlights that cart choice mattered. Players really appreciate that newfound tuning depth.
So the strategic bolds landed well.
Seems so. And the online experience is drawing major praise. Players are calling it flawless, fast matchmaking, smooth races, and it finally feels competitive.
Flawless online is a big statement for any game, let alone Mario Kart.
It really is. And things like the rotating live events and seasonal cups are apparently keeping players hooked. Addicted was the word used.
Keeps the game fresh.
Exactly. And crucially, even though it sounds challenging, that new drifting system is apparently providing next level satisfaction because it rewards skill over just luck.
Makes sense. Rewarding mastery feels good. And the critics, are they on board too?
Absolutely echoing the sentiment. IGN gave it a 9.5 out of 10.
Wow, 9.5.
Yeah, calling it a modern masterpiece and a bold leap forward. Beautiful, balanced, and endlessly fun.
High marks. What about others?
GameSpot gave it a 9 out of 10, specifically noting it's not just a visual upgrade, it's a gameplay overhaul. They emphasize that skill and strategy matter more than ever.
So reinforcing that core gameplay change.
Precisely. And even Digital Foundry, the tech analysis folks.
Yeah, what do they say?
They highlighted its flawless performance and straight up called it a console seller for the Switch 2.
A console seller. That's about as strong an endorsement as you can get.
Pretty much sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, that final review score, the 9.5,
Yeah.
really speaks for itself. And the source, it emphatically states, if you have a Nintendo Switch 2, this game is a must-own. It seems pretty definitive.
Hard to argue with that kind of consensus.
And just for practical info, for anyone ready to jump in, it's available in the standard edition at $69.99.
Standard price these days.
Yep. There's a deluxe at $89.99, which includes 3 DLC cups and some bonus characters. And an expansion pass is available too, for $24.99, covering seasonal content and live event gear.
So ongoing support is planned. Good to see.
Definitely. So our deep dive today into Mario Kart World. It really paints a clear picture, doesn't it? A franchise truly reborn.
It really seems that way.
Leveraging new hardware, not just for looks, but to fundamentally deliver an experience that redefines what a racing game, and maybe specifically a Mario Kart game, can actually be.
A genuine evolution, not just iteration.
Exactly. Which makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About this specific reinvention, this focus on deep strategy, cutting-edge tech, proper competitive online play.
Yeah.
What does this suggest about the future for other beloved long-running gaming series? Is this kind of massive, ground-up overhaul going to become the new expectation?
That's a great question.
Or is there still a big place for those simpler, maybe more nostalgia-driven updates? You know, the safer route.
It's a balance, isn't it? Risk versus reward.
Totally. And what other classic games out there, in your opinion, feel like they're just ripe for this kind of bold, maybe even risky reinvention? And what kind of challenges does that really demanding approach carry for the developers who try it?
That's definitely something to ponder. The resources required, managing fan expectations, it's tough.
Definitely something for you listeners to mull over as you maybe hit the virtual track soon. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.